Welcome to this week's episode of Weekdays with BYU-Idaho Radio. I'm Harrison Kelly. I've got on the phone with me Tony Verlisi. He's the Senior Special Events Manager at Grand Targhee Resort. He's in charge of the 36th Annual Bluegrass Festival. 3 days of great music, starts August 7th, goes to August 9th. So, Tony, thank you for coming on the show. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Harrison. I appreciate it. It's nice to be on with you.
Yeah, great to have you here. And excited to talk about this really cool festival that Grand Targhee Resort does. I understand, so this is the 36th year of the Bluegrass Festival. Where do you know the history? How did this festival start?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's been a part of Grand Targhee for so long. And there's quite a bit of lore attached to it, but it's become a part of the fabric of this place, over all these years. The origins of it specifically, I couldn't speak to, but it's been running strong, ever since then, with the exception of, we took a hiatus, during COVID. But came back a couple of years ago and picked up right where we left off. And, of course, look forward to continuing to host these Bluegrass festivals on into the future.
I love that. What was it like putting on your first? Well, I guess I'll ask this before I ask that. How many years have you been in this position? How many years have you had to plan for this event?
Yeah, so not a terribly long time. 3 years. This will be my third Bluegrass Festival that I've been in this role. So not a terribly long time, but it's I've learned an enormous amount in that short time, and have come to really love putting this thing on and really looking forward to this time of year every year.
Yeah, it's a great time of year. Beautiful time of year up in Targhee right now, too.
Indeed.
So it's a great time of year. And I'm sure that within at least your first couple of years, it was probably a fire hose of information for you. What was it like putting on your first Bluegrass Festival? Your first time in this role? What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was, it was a lot. I did my best to listen and absorb as much as I could from the amazing team that we have around us here at Grand Targhee. And, not to force anything. That was the biggest lesson I think that I took away is, just knowing that our guests are going to come up here to Grand Targhee. They've paid for a ticket. They're going to come and they're going to have an amazing time no matter what. And so I was able to kind of take a little step back and let that element of this festival happen. And then just focus on a lot of the things I could control, things like, do we have enough bathrooms? Are food vendors all set and ready to go? Is our security team in place? Things like that. Because people are going to have a great time no matter what. So it was a lot. Going back to your initial question, it was a lot at first, but it didn't take me long to kind of fall into the groove, I would say.
I like that because I like that you talk about not forcing people, because sometimes it can be, I assume it would be pretty stressful to entertain people, especially at large crowds and you've got professionals you're working with. And just letting them have a good time. I like that take.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's true. Folks are coming here because they want to be here. And so it's our job to set things up so that they can come here and not worry about anything at all. Everything's taken care of. They can enjoy the music with their friends and family, and that's it.
Right. And it seems like it's a really popular event, especially if Grand Targhee's been continuing this for the last, 36 years-ish, despite, COVID. But how many people do you guys usually generally have attend this kind of event?
Yeah, I would say in my experience, we average around 3,000 people per day. So, we have some folks that come for all 3 days, and then some folks will come just for a single day. And so between um, the paying customers, the ticket holders themselves, and then our Targhee staff and crew up here, it comes out to around 3,000 people a day, which is a perfect number. We feel like it's enough to kind of fill the place up, but not too many to where you don't have room. You can still spread out, you can breathe, you can spread out your blanket. Lines aren't too long. If there's a line at all at any of the vendors. And so it's about where we like it. So yeah, that's about where we're at for numbers.
Okay, so I mean, I also understand there's other events that happen on the hill. Like you got like mountain biking happening at the same time that this event goes on. So it makes sense that 3,000 is a pretty sweet spot, but that's still a good amount of people coming up. Do you guys have a cap? Do you have like a sellout cap for tickets usually?
That's a great question. We typically kind of play that one by ear. We will we'll look at how festival ticket sales are doing, and then once folks start showing up, and we feel like the venue is at the capacity that we see in the ticket sales for the day, we can kind of gauge visually and through checking in with all the services here. Okay, could we handle any more folks, or is this about the cap that we want to have for today? And then we can adjust our ticket sales and our ticket availability, on the website to reflect that. So, our cap is, I would say a little bit more than that 3,000, but we like to keep it so that it's still manageable for the people that are coming up here.
Yeah, making that customer experience the top priority, and that flexibility also, I'm sure, helps you in your planning too, right? Because
most definitely
you have less you have to worry about with that, which makes sense,
right?
I'm curious to know what's the process like to get bands to perform there.
Great question. We work with an organization who is able to kind of act as the go-between between us and the artists. And so, we start planning artists and the lineup a full year in advance. And so, we're currently working to put together our lineup for the 2027 festival. And so we'll work with that organization to schedule those bands based on, who we'd like to come play here, what guests are yearning for, and then who's available in this part of the country that time of year based on touring schedules. And that all has to ultimately fall within, what is our budget for the festival. So a lot of things are at play here when it comes to choosing the lineup. A lot of pieces have to fall into place. But that's the gist. It takes a while, but we like to have everything locked in more or less for the next year's festival by early fall. That's usually our goal.
Yeah, I can imagine it's, a big jigsaw puzzle to put this whole event together, because you've got, you got the bands you have to fund, you've got the facilities you have to manage, you've got the people you have to manage, the security, all that. I mean, there's so many things, I'm sure.
Exactly.
That we're not, I'm sure we probably barely even scratching the surface as to what goes into planning something that you do, right?
Indeed. Yeah, it's just one aspect of a whole suite of elements for sure.
I like that you guys plan ahead though. So you're already planning for the next season. It's a good way to make sure that if something goes wrong, you have enough time to correct that, and you'll always have at least a show in the next year. That's smart.
Definitely. Yeah, it gives us, it does give us a little bit of breathing room. We like to be able to anticipate what's coming so that it can leave us a little bit of room to respond to those things that do come up at the last minute. which inevitably always happen.
Yeah, if there's anything I've learned in my participation with events, my own organizing with events, something always goes wrong, and you gotta just be prepared for that.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome. I am curious too. So I understand you guys have vendors that come to this Bluegrass Festival. What kind of vendors do come, and how do you gather them? How do you get them?
Yeah, so we do have a vendor village outside of the festival venue itself. So it's open to anyone who's up here at Targhee, whether you're here for the festival or not. And we like to focus on regional, local artisans who are here to sell artwork or clothing, certain food items, a number of different things for people to come and check out and potentially buy. Outside of the food vendors themselves, which are inside the venue. And we set them up in a space where everybody has a chance to kind of come check them out and chat with folks. We go into searching for these vendors also about a year in advance. And over the years, we've accumulated a really nice list and group of folks who have been to the festival before or regularly travel to other music festivals in the region. We reach out to them. We also, on our website, have a special space dedicated to people who are interested in being a vendor at our festival. So they can click a button and fill out an application. And if it fits within what we're trying to do, then we'll have them out. But we've got usually between, I would say, 7 to 12 different vendors that are up here for the festival weekend. And it really adds to the experience here in August up at Targhee with the music.
Wow. Yeah, you can't, you can listen to music without eating food, but it's always helpful to, have food while you listen to music. That's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Targhee's a beautiful area. I grew up skiing there. I'm very familiar with the area, but you guys offer campsites for this event. So, and I know you offered some different like lodging packages and campsite packages. Could you walk me through that? What kind of campsites do you offer?
Sure. Yeah. One of the unique things about Targhee is we do have on-site camping here. And we have camping all throughout the summer. Through our summer season here at Targhee. But during the Bluegrass Festival, we open up more of the property to camping because a huge part of the experience is coming up here with the family and camping out for the course of the weekend. And so the types of sites that we have that are available are twofold. So we have some hard surface campsites, which is basically like a parking lot, like you would park in anywhere that's paved. And those are typically saved for or reserved for folks who have large motorhomes, RVs, things of that nature. And then we have meadow camping, which is out in our giant meadow that's located just to the west of kind of our main parking lots here at Targhee. And that camping is more dispersed. It's kind of first come, first serve, arrive, go out there and find a good spot that's going to work for you. And it's great. That way you can, you're installed here over the course of the weekend. You can go back and forth between your campsite, your camper, whatever's parked out there, and the venue. It's a great opportunity to come up here with some friends in multiple vehicles, and you can all camp together. If you get here in enough time to kind of set aside a spot that's going to fit everyone. But that's our camping setup. We also have we had last year we started doing this, but we're offering some camping packages, and that basically is like you get your campsite, your festival tickets, and a few other things all in one bundle. just to try and make it a little bit easier for people who are wanting to come up here for the weekend to purchase all the things that they want with a single click instead of having to go through and select a whole bunch of different products that they wanted. So camping is a huge part of this festival. It's a huge part of the culture of this festival, and we love being able to provide it. It really adds to the experience here for our guests.
Yeah, not only listening to good music, but being under the stars out in the wilderness at Targhee sounds like a great time to me.
Oh yeah, it's hard to beat.
So a lot of times, I'm curious about this right now because of the current conditions of the area. I know usually with camping, campfires are pretty like you have to have a campfire if you're camping, right? And I know the current conditions of eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, it's really dry right now. A lot of counties and areas have a lot of fire restrictions going on. Are you allowing campfires up there?
Great question. I'm glad you asked. We are not currently. There is a burn ban in effect right now for Teton County. And so we're adhering to that. And basically what that means is no open flames. So that's campfire, any grill that has an open flame to it. And I know, for our guests, that can be a bummer because just like you mentioned, it's a part of the camping experience. But honestly, we've been really pleased with the behavior of our guests up here. They've adhered to that. And we're able to go through and remind folks politely if they do have a campfire, they were unaware that there are no open flames permitted. It's important. We're trying to preserve this place and preserve the experience for people as well while they're up here. And so no campfires, no open flames this time around this year.
Well, thank you for that clarification because that was a big question I had personally. I know it's been a pretty hot topic around the area recently with all these wildfires starting up. It's really dry, not a lot of precipitation in the area. I just have, one more question. I'm really curious to hear from you. What band or bands are you most excited for this year?
Oh man, that's a great question and such a tough one to answer.
I'm sure it's pretty tough.
Because I'll give you an answer here and then I'll think about it and I'll want to add or change. Somebody asked me this question actually earlier today and I was thinking about it and there are a couple that I'll mention to you. Tim O'Brien Band is playing here and Tim it's been a few years since he's been back to Targhee. And so I'm really looking forward to Tim O'Brien. Yonder Mountain String Band has a long history here with Grand Targhee. And so it's always great to welcome those guys back here to Targhee. This year, something different is Sierra Farrell is going to cap things off on Sunday night. And I'm really looking forward to seeing her set. But I could really, honestly, Harrison, I could go down the lineup and say something amazing and something I'm excited about with everybody that's on the bill. But those in particular are a few that I'm looking forward to this year.
It's cool to see there's some returning bands coming back to the Hill this year. And I also understand, I want to let the people listening to know that on your website at grandtarghee.com/bluegrass, there's a list of all the different bands that are playing throughout the 3 days there. But you also listed a playlist with each band and one of their songs on the website.
Yeah, we wanted to give folks an opportunity to discover something new. They could go through the schedule and see a name of a band and be curious. What do they sound like? And so we put together a little playlist to give folks a taste and maybe open a door for them to explore a little bit more so they knew maybe what they were in store for when they showed up.
That's great. Well, for more information for folks at home that are interested in the Bluegrass Festival at Grand Targhee, go to grandtarghee.com/bluegrass. You can get all your ticketing information, your lodging information, the band information, all right there. Thanks to Tony Lisi. Thank you, Tony, for coming on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me, Harrison. It's
Yeah,
been
you're
a
welcome.
pleasure chatting with you.
That was Tony Ferlisi, the Senior Special Events Manager at Grand Targhee Resort. He's in charge of the 36th Annual Bluegrass Festival happening this weekend from August 7th to August 9th. A bunch of bluegrass bands on the ticket for each of those days. You can go get tickets at grandtarghee.com/bluegrass. This has been another episode of Weekdays with BYU-Idaho Radio. Thanks, I'm Harrison Kelly.